then the way she was going, I mean, if it was Laura before, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But me, I'm like, what did you do? Because she looked funny to me. So I was just laughing because it looked like she was acting and it was a film and it just looked funny. I looked forced. I love Mariam. I love everything she stands for. But bitch, please, you need to take a chill pill because right now you acting like you're on crack, babe. I have an issue with Laura in the beginning. Eventually, I did, but how I get to be mean to you? Yes, and I said,
Okay, if there's anything I am so excited for this episode, it would be that one. The bad people, the group, they're starting to realize that some people are actually shady in this group. I'm talking about Dr. Romeo and Mariam. In this episode, people that haven't had conversations in since last season, and ever since the season began, they had the opportunity to sit down and have those conversations. And this episode wasn't all that dramatic, yeah, if I'm being honest, but we'll get down to every of the details in this video. So if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, and if you're just hearing my voice in my channel, hi, I hope you stay. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. So yes, in this episode, like in the first scene, we see Faith and her son lodge into this hotel for a mini staycation for just the both of them. And she mentioned that she's been away from her son for a while. We all saw that herself and Toyin went to pick her son up in the previous episode, and she just wanted a bonding time with her son. And even when they chilled in the room, they later had dinner or lunch, and we saw that she was trying to talk to him, just have that mommy and son time. And she's talking about how it's been difficult for her to stay away from him, spend time away from him and all that. And at first I was thinking to myself that this conversation is kind of adulty, it feels like she's talking to an adult son. But with the way the son was able to carry on with the conversation, he was able to impute his own opinion in the conversation, he was responding back. It made me realize that, okay, this scene is actually not fake. It doesn't look forced for the camera. It looks like they would usually have these conversations together, and that was really nice to see. So in the next scene, we see Faith, Laura, and Toyin meet up for a play date with their children. They had the pool, they had painting, they had games, water guns, and all that. All three women were excited that they had friends that their children could bond with their own children, and they really enjoyed every bit of it. And I liked the fact, most especially, I love the fact that there was no scene or there were no time during that play dates that the women sat down to start gossiping about them. I always talk about in my reviews that I hate when women say, oh, let's meet up for lunch. I get that gossip, it's bound to happen, especially amongst friends and all that, but I like that they didn't even sit down together to start talking about, oh, these women. It's about the kids. Let's just have time. Let's be mommies. Let's, loosen up. Let's be in the water with these kids and all that. And I like that was all they did. Even though they did have, even if they had a conversation or conversations like that, I like that the camera didn't show us that. But I want to believe that those kind of conversations probably didn't happen. But really, let's talk about what Toyin wore to that play date. What was that shawareje, that masquerade thing she carried on her head? I just felt like it was a bit too much for that kind of outing, and maybe because maybe it was appropriate considering the weather, covering the upper part of her body and her head properly. But I was just oh my god, it's not possible for anybody not to notice Toyin in that environment with what she was putting on her head. But it was very funny. Even aside from what she wore for that play date, what she was wearing in this episode in her confessionals, she was wearing a dress made of gold wristwatches. Ha! This woman. Toyin is extra. So in the next scene, we see Tania get ready for a photo shoot with her family member. She's like, her husband doesn't get the idea of being in front of the camera. He doesn't get it. It feels like it's weird. But, they are doing this family shoots. And also the shoot was meant for this a book that she just launched. And that was basically just it for that scene, just the family shoot and all that. And I think prior to that time, she was having a conversation when they were trying to get her ready. She was asking her friend for ideas on what to do with the ladies, that she wants to plan an event for the ladies. I know a friend jokingly told her to take the ladies to Bali, and her expression was quite priceless. But yeah, that was that about that scene. Also in the next scene, we see Mariam visit this client of hers. He's trying to set up this project and they need PR consultancy and all those things. And at some point I was just yes, it's time for us to see Mariam in our zone, in our work mode. Ideas are coming out and all that. But then again, Mariam decides to disappoint us again. She goes, when the man had told her everything he had envisioned for the project and all that, she says she has to go back to her team and, she will get back to him on what ideas she needs. I mean, I get that there's definitely room for like brainstorming with your team and seeing what their own idea is like and all that stuff. But I'm just like, not even a tip, not even like a rough idea of what you intend to do for the project. Like, let's just see your elements, Mariam. It shouldn't be violence and negativity all the damn time. But then again, she's like, she'll get back to him. I'm just like, okay, whatever. We'll never get to see that. All right, I give up. So in the next scene, we see Chioma visit a restaurant. I don't know if you remembered or if you saw in the news where I think earlier this year Chioma's restaurant caught fire, like a part of it caught fire, and it made the news like social media at that time. So we see her visit our restaurant this time around, and it's under serious renovation. Like the walls are out, the wirings are out, the floors are out. It's serious construction going on there. And she wasn't happy with what she saw. She was talking about how there wasn't much progress being made on the project, on the renovation. They are losing money, and she said exactly what was on my mind, because I was just like, the longer they stall and the longer they waste time on getting that place ready, the more money they would lose. Because imagine how much they make every day, and then in a week, and then in a month, and now we're talking about 2 months, and it's almost going to 3 months. Like, if you do the math, you might just run mad, and consider that you're actually spending money on this renovation. So I could relate, or I could understand where anger was coming from, and her displeasure at how things were going at that site. And she even mentioned that they had to fire the last team because they were not working at the speed she would love them to work, and things were pretty much the same thing as the last time she was there. And whilst she was there, Laura sweeps in, and apparently we're supposed to meet up, but Chioma didn't want Laura to come there and see the place like that. But I mean, she couldn't do much. So they came in, they hugged. It was very nice, amazingly nice. They greeted each other very, very nicely. And Laura was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry about your place. I mean, it got burned the other time, and I love that you're renovating, And she told her that hopefully the next time they get to see the restaurant is very much ready and is looking nice and ready for business. I know they made their way downstairs and they continued to talk, and Chioma did not fail to mention Laura and applaud her for the successful event. I mean, the launching of her the lipstick she had in the previous episode, and she was like, oh, she actually likes the products, she's currently wearing them. And really, Laura was very happy to hear those comments and get those feedback from Chioma. And when they were done with all those talks, Chioma proceeded to talk about the awkwardness at the party between Mariam and Faith and Dr. Rommel. I know they didn't talk about it extensively, but Laura just tried to just dismiss the topic by saying everybody would settle at their own time. In the next scene, we see Tania at her husband's, bar. She talked about how he owns that bar alongside some other people, and she has invited Chioma to come around so they could talk and discuss on what she could possibly do for the ladies, just have the ladies together. Like, she doesn't want it to be an event that is very personal to her, maybe a child's birthday or a lunch or something. Like, she just wants to be like a casual meeting, so in case something bad happens, like an altercation or a serious fight, it wouldn't get to her that much, because she knows how much Yabo puts into our event for her 25 years on stage, and the outcome wasn't that pleasant. While she was waiting, Chioma arrived and they talked. They did not fail to talk about the awkwardness that was very much present at Laurel's event, and they proceeded to talk about Faith and Dr. Rommel. That they even spoke about the old Mariam and Faith situation at Yabo's event, and how Mariam was very much angry that Faith didn't want to call Laura. I know Tania was like, she feels like Mariam is doing too much, considering the fact that the whole phone call thing is none of her business, but she seems to care about it so much. I'm just like, oh wow, Tania, I'm surprised to hear that from you, because in your confessionals you seem to be saying something different. But okay, I mean, she did say these things in her confessionals as well. She also says that she feels like there is more to Dr. Rommel and Faith or issue that they do not know about, because I mean, the whole thing just feels very off, considering the fact that they came in strong and now they are not talking, and it's very chaotic and very, very serious. And Thomas says that she had a meeting, like she had a chat with Dr. Romo, like Dr. Romo put her aside during Laurel's lipstick launch, and she even told Dr. Romo to talk about the lipstick because lipsticks for Iyabo and her daughter Priscilla, and he thought he wanted to buy it for her or something like that. And then he proceeded to talk about how he met with Faith prior to that event, and where they were talking, Faith just charged at him and started yelling at him and started raising her voice and saying, "We're not even friends. I don't know you. It wasn't my event. It was only your event. It wasn't my event," and all of those things. And Chioma was like, considering what, like, judging by what Dr. Romo is showing her and what she has seen so far, she thinks Dr. Romo is sweet, he has a kind heart, and all of those things. Like, they need to call both parties together, sit them down and hear from both ends so she can judge and use her lawyer instincts or her lawyer skills. And I'm just like, okay, okay. I was going to say, yeah, you're a bad judge of character. But I mean, different people and their different instincts and perception, right? So, Tania proceeded to say that she's even scared of having this event because she feels like something terrible is going to happen. And considering the fact that there are like pending issues, unsettled beef, she feels like they might bring it into her event, and it might be chaotic and she wouldn't like that. And Chioma was like, "Don't worry, it's going to be fun." And when she was laying all those grievances to Chioma, I was just like, little does she know that Chioma is even going to be the one, or she's going to be part of the issues she will have at the event. I mean, she's going to probably have a fight or altercation with somebody at our event, considering what we saw in the snippets in the last episode. So in the next scene, which is the scene I actually like so much, I feel like that's my favorite scene this episode. We see Toyin and Laura finally set up a meeting. They met at this restaurant, and in their conversation, we did find out that they've actually settled before, the whole camera started rolling. I think before the season started, or maybe in between, but it wasn't in front of the camera. Laura talked about the part she played in the failure of her friendship with Toyin, and how she feels like both of them listen to other people's opinion and let other people, kind of talk them into things they didn't want to do, and that she has noticed that same dynamic between the women and herself, considering Faith, them trying to tell her that Faith is not being a good friend as much as she is to Faith, and that she would not allow what happened between herself and Toyin repeat itself with herself and Faith, that she's going to solely judge people on what she shares with them personally and whatnot, and not what other people are telling her. If she doesn't see it, she's not going to take it up. Tonya agreed with her and said that, yeah, she has also noticed that that's what she's definitely going to do this year. They keep saying this season or this year, but we know that, they all mean this season. I know Toyin was like, definitely that, judging by Faith, considering how much people have been coming for Faith, even before she met Faith, they were already saying a lot of things about her, painting her a certain kind of way, but that she's going to judge or, relate with Faith or anybody else, how they present themselves and the things they do to her. Like Faith has never been rude to her, and that the only thing she has noticed about Faith is very, very put together. That the way she acts, you think she's playing a script because she's always put together. But with time, she has come to realize that Faith is actually not acting a script. That is how she is, and she's just being herself. I know Laura was able to concur with what Toyin said in her confessionals, that Faith is a very sweet girl. She's hardworking, she's bougie, and she has sense. So, they were talking, and Laura was like, Mariam is very vocal right now, and Toyin was like, oh yeah, Mariam is very vocalized right now. And I was just like, yeah, so even we, the viewers, were like, whoa, what a wow, Mariam has found her voice, but it seems to be too much for us right now. Not really too much, but she's using her voice in a very negative way, if you're being honest. And that, both of them spoke about how they feel like she has a script this year that she's carefully playing out. And even Toyin said she has asked Mariam before that, you playing the script, you seem very different this year. And Mariam is like, oh no, she's not playing the script, that most of the things she does, she doesn't even plan to do them, things that happen at the moment. Sarah made reference to how Mariam was acting during her photo shoot, where she was snapping her fingers, calling people fake, and she was just like, it seemed very fake to her, and it feels like she was acting. It felt like an act. And Toyin in her confessionals was like, Mariam is a close friend. Mariam has been a friend for a long time. She loves Mariam so much, but Mariam needs to take a chill pill because right now she's acting like someone that is on crack. They talked about how they will make sure that they work on their friendship and nobody comes between them. They cheers to their friendship. Saying to Toyin, Laura and Toyin had known each other since Toyin was 17. I'm like, wow, that's a very long time ago. I didn't even know that. I never would have guessed, if not that Toyin mentioned it. Just like I said in my previous review, I think episode 5 or 6, I said that I feel like even though people are talking about how these women are not talking about their issues right now, with the way they are acting or the way they are relating or the way they've carried their issues, it feels like they've settled behind closed doors or behind the cameras. And if not, they are carrying it gracefully and they are handling it maturely. And I like that they met away from the group to talk about their issues and squash their beefs. And it's good to see that Laurel and Toyin are back. So in the next scene, we see that it's Tania's event. She arrives first, as expected of her being the host. And then we see that Faith walks in next. And it just felt like the best opportunity to have a chat with Faith alone, because Tania said she hasn't really like chatted with Faith that much. And they were talking, and I think they were talking about how there was going to be drinks and food. Then Faith said, oh, that Tania definitely has to drink tonight, that she has noticed that she's always avoiding the shots whenever the ladies are drinking. I know Tania was giving excuses that, oh, the last time I was on antibiotics, last time I was this, last time I was that. And they were trying to remember the events they had attended together, and the events Tania had failed to take shots at. I know they mentioned Chioma's yard sales, and then Tania mentioned Faith. Then she says to Faith that, oh, your Botox party. And Faith was like, that's not my Botox party. It wasn't my Botox party. It was Dr. Romo's Botox party alone. And she was like, well, both of your names were on the boxes and all of those things. And then they proceeded to talk about all the issues she's been having with Dr. Romo and how Dr. Romo is trying to expand their friendship beyond what it is, like trying to tell people that they are friends from ages when they're actually not. She even goes ahead to show, Tania the chat, the very first chat he had with Dr. Romer last year because of the show and because their manager, and because the manager they both share, introduce them together. And everything started to click and make sense to Tania. And Tania was like, I understand Faith very much. Like, if I brought you to a group and then you're not using me to shine or more, you go here more. And I'm afraid Princess should just tell everything and lay all our card out concerning Dr. Rommel. And Tania was like, I'm not going to lie to you, I've insulted you very much, or I've called you names, I've blamed you and blamed you. And Faith was like, no, it's fine. And they just spoke at length about everything that had happened. Afterwards, Laurel comes in. If you see what Laurel was wearing, net at pata. I didn't want to say that. But yeah, Laurel came in looking very clubby. And she was like, yeah, once in a while she wants to tilt towards that sexy side of her. And she really liked what she was wearing. Ladies were even shocked, like, Laurel. She was very excited. She looked very comfortable when she was wearing. She looks very happy. Toyin walks in next with this all white. As Toyin walks in and sees what Laura was wearing, Toyin asks her in Yoruba that, did your husband see what you were wearing before you left the house? And those ladies were like, oh, we tired. This one choke us and all of those things. I know they exchanged pleasantry and everybody sat down together. And they were just gisting. I think afterwards, Chioma too arrived. But I liked that with this event, they didn't wait for anybody. The moment Toyin, Faith, Laurel, and Tania herself were seated, they just started the party. People that came with drinks and food. And then when Chioma joined in, people that came with Azu came in, because according to Tania, Chioma is the Azu queen. They came in like they didn't have to wait for must be complete though before we start the party. I like that they got into the thing straight up. They didn't even wait for anybody, which I really like. That way, you cannot come and be angry that you were waiting for 5 hours. If anybody comes if anybody arrives 5 hours late, you will come and meet the remnants, or you will come and say that everybody has left for their homes and then go back home. Nobody has to pay for your lateness. So I liked that about this event. I know afterwards, Mariam arrives and, she was feeling herself. Faith was just like stone cold, like she can't see anybody, nobody's here, doesn't matter to her. And immediately Mariam sits down. It wasn't even up to 5 minutes. We just had, they went on a break, and then by the time we returned, we just started seeing that there was this argument between Chioma and Mariam going back and forth, and apparently it was about Laurel. I think Mariam was accusing Chioma of speaking to Laurel when they had all agreed not to, or when they said they would snub Laurel. I know, something very flimsy and very, very silly. And it was very crazy to see that Laura was the reason why they were having this argument. Laura was just laughing in her confessionals that she doesn't even understand what these two ladies are all about, but it's so funny to her. And then Chioma goes ahead to say that Mariam was one that told all the ladies to ignore Laura. And I think that was in the last season when they went for these Toyins, when they went for Yabo Joe's trip, that Laura was acting really funny and didn't want to attend and giving excuses. I think it was during that time. And the thing was just very silly, if I'm being honest. It was just about Laura and they were going back and forth. And they were, in fact, I couldn't even make sense out of everything they were arguing about. And it felt like it was very, very heated. But later on, Tanya just had to take charge of the situation. She was like, people calm down, is enough, is enough. Let the magician come in. Maybe he can help us get rid of this bad energy and this anger and make people forget your problems. And the magician walks in aside doing magic, wows them, pull the tricks, and afterwards, the belly dancer came in, had fun, and then later on, like guys like maybe would I call them strippers, male strippers, or like male corrected guys came in, and according to Tanya, they were especially requested for the ladies, for the single ladies amongst them. But it was very strange or very funny to see Mariam in the corner with her phone with one of the men, and according to her, she was making a video that she was going to show her husband. Kini kini kon. They even carried her. Everybody was like, Mariam. But I mean, the party was fun overall. They partied so much. They ate, they sprayed money, they laughed, they had fun. It was really, really nice. And I mean, I can say, oh, congrats, Tania, your party was a success, even though you had a little bit of hiccups here and there. This episode was actually chilled, nothing much. We got to see the motherly side of the women and, the business side of the women. And no new friendship are being made, more conversations being had. What do you guys think about this episode overall? What are your expectations for episode, 8? Let me know everything in the comment section. Please like this video if you're yet to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I love seeing my next review. Until then, make sure to remain happy because you owe it to yourself. Bye guys.